Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Short video today because I wanted to do a follow-up on this pen. This is the Yuka's Metis Black Grid Felt Tip pen. I did a review of this, which I'll link down below, and I completely stand by that review. I just thought I'd do a follow-up because it's been 6 months since I posted that. And there were a couple of questions about the pen that sort of came up from that review and from other social media stuff. And so I wanted to kind of like just give a bit of a perspective a little further on down the track. So as I said, this is a felt tip pen. Yuka's make these felt tip pens that use fountain pen ink. So they take a standard international cartridge or converter. I use cartridges in it because, well, I have a number of them that I've collected over the years, and it's sort of good to use them. And they've recently come out with another model, which the Gaia, which will be getting a review very, very shortly, so stay tuned for that one. But this is the Metis, and there are 4 different tip options that are available. This is a 0.1 millimeter tip there. And it is basically the same as any other felt tip marker or pen in that way that, it's got the fiber top to it. And as I said, this uses fountain pen ink. So the fountain pen ink gives an interesting element to this. Fountain pen ink seems to dry out a little quicker than standard felt tip pigment ink. I don't know what the chemical makeup difference is, but if you have a felt tip pen like an art line pen or something like that, the ink seems to sort of not dry out in the pen as much. Now this has a secure capping, so it's sort of airtight, so it's not necessarily an issue with that. I think a lot of it is the fact that fountain pen ink is much more water-based, and therefore the water evaporates and dries out. Now, these particular pens, they are prone to a little bit of drying out. And when I say drying out, like if you don't use this pen for a couple of weeks, you might need to like scribble a few words down before the ink starts to flow again. If it's a couple of days, it might be half a letter. If you watch the review, I show that, in that video. But generally speaking, you can get it going. Even if you have to moisten the tip just a little bit, it'll get going again. Obviously, the longer you leave a cartridge in a pen, the water in the cartridge will evaporate, and therefore, that's another issue, but that's the same with fountain pens. So what do I think of this? Well, firstly, I'm going to do a refreshed pros and cons here. Now, I'm not going to do a review because I've done the review and you can watch that. As I said, it gives all the details, specs, and all that sort of stuff. This is just like a follow-up 6 months later, and I'll do a very quick writing sample with it. So, as I said, I've been using this pen for 6 months, with the exception of like a few weeks here and there, or a couple of weeks here and there. This pen has been with me, carried with me in my bag, in my pen case. I'm on the 3rd cartridge of it now. I have just used diamine ink cartridges in it because that's what I have quite a lot of. So I had Oxford Blue, Sherwood Green, and now I've got Oxblood in it. And it performs well. The tip is smooth, and the tip has maintained, like there's no like fraying of the tip at all. It hasn't spread or anything like that, which is good to know. One of those cartridges, the Oxford Blue, I ran dry in terms of like used it out. Sherwood Green, I used about maybe half to 2/3 of that before I replaced it, and then well, to be frank, I got bored of the colour. And now I've got Oxblood in there, which is a relatively recently put in the pen. You do use ink quite slowly because it puts less down on the page. Which is a pro, I think, because it also means you can write on different sorts of paper that fountain pens may not be able to handle. So it's good. Drying out, as I said, yes, issue. But easily resolved. The biggest issue I have with this pen is the grip section. It is narrow and it is slippery. So I use this predominantly for short note taking. I wouldn't do long note taking sessions with it. it's shopping lists, it's those sorts of things. And as I said, generally paper that won't handle fountain pens as well. So let's do a writing sample. I've just got some Midori paper here that I thought I'd just do a little bit of a scribble down in. I have been using this in the last couple of days, so it should set up fairly quickly. But what we have here is the Yookers Metis. As I said, this is a felt tip, 1mm. The difference between the 0.8 and I think it's 1.4 is not as pronounced as you would imagine. But this is one I've found to be sort of closest to, you know, the size I like, which is between like a medium and a broad of a fountain pen, I guess. Or sort of standard, you know, European fountain pen. But, you know, as I said, it doesn't put down that much ink on the page, which is nice. So this is Diamine Blood, just while it's smooth, it does the job, and like I like the retro feeling. As I said when I reviewed this, it sort of looks like one of those, you know, old Casio digital watches or something. It's got a great feel to it. But as I said, I stand by my original review. The drying out is temporary. It does happen, but a couple of words later and you're writing again. But if you're using it regularly, I've not had an issue with this, and I've really enjoyed using it. So keep an eye out for the review of the Gaia, which is coming up actually, I think in a couple of days, where I talk about that pen, some of the pros and cons, and a couple of things that I think, you know, if this isn't the pen for you, if there's certain elements of this pen, I think there are things you're going to like with this one. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this video interesting. If you're interested in the Yookers felt tip pens, check them out. They've got you know, a pretty handy website with all the information, all that sort of stuff. They are available from a number of other retailers like Goulet Pens, and this is the Metis model. So check me out on Instagram, Twitter. I'm at @the_offstage_me. Like and subscribe and all that sort of stuff to all the social networks, including YouTube here. If you've got questions, drop me a message or an email, which is also listed down below. If you'd like to support the channel by sponsoring a review or providing an item for review, I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.